In this video, we will explore how to create a test block which defines datasets, execution parameters, and assertions to check against, add that block to a test chain which enables us to run one or more test blocks in sequence, and then kick off an automated test. This is the view you will see from the test automation page, and to begin, we're going to click Test Blocks. Here we see our existing test blocks, but we're going to click Add to begin creating a new one. We will assign this test block a name, pipeline, dataset, and one or more workflow variations to execute on. The pipelines will be automatically populated based on the pipeline you are in, and the datasets will have already been added, or you can follow the link underneath this text box to add your own. The last task to do on this page is to fill in the assertions and alerts, which tell us if the test passed or failed under our given criteria. For now, I'm going to delete the concordance one to explain some functionality later in this tutorial. I took some time to populate our test blocks configurations, and lastly, we're going to click Submit to finish. Next, go back to the block we just created to see the test has just a single assertion and alert. We can see that indeed there is just one here. To add or edit assertions and alerts, click the Edit button in the upper right corner. From this page, we can edit and add assertions and alerts from both an editor mode and JSON editor. I can click the drop-down menus to edit my criteria, or I can press this plus button to add another one. For more flexibility, click the Edit via JSON button in the upper right-hand corner, and then the Edit button to personalize our test. In the JSON editor, we can do a whole host of things to edit our assertions and alerts. We can type directly into the JSON editor to change a number of arguments like versions, name, fail type, and threshold to customize our test. We can also scroll down to check starters to get predefined blurbs that insert directly into our JSON script. If we add a concordance blurb, we can see that we have now added an assertion checking against the previous version and that it is 95% concordant against the previous run. We could edit this by typing directly into the JSON editor to customize it how we want. We could change our fail type to warn if we didn't want our test to fail outright. We could change versions instead of comparing to the previous version to compare to a specific version. Or we could change our threshold to be 90% concordant. To submit changes to the JSON script, click Save to see an outputted script of our test assertions and alerts. And if we go back to the block we just created, we can see our new concordance assertion and timing change. Now that we have a test block, we can create a test chain. From the test automation page, click Test Chains to begin creating our new chain. We then click Add to begin the process of naming and assigning to a workflow. We are going to name this something similar to our test block. And then I'm going to assign this to the BCF tools pipeline for our workflow. This next page shows us an empty test chain. From here, we click the Edit and Add buttons in the Test Steps block on the left of our screen to add the test block we just created. We can search for it directly here. If we wanted, we could also add a second block to the test chain we just created, first having it run on the block we just created, and then have it move on to executing the second block after our first block is finished. Now that we've added the second block, our chain is now ready to be kicked off on our existing versions. Directly from the new test page, we can kick off our test chain using the button at the top right of the page and also create new linked triggers linked directly to the test. I'm going to select BCF Tools version 1.4 to kick off our test and then confirm. And we can see that our test chain has been kicked off. If we go back to our previous page, we can use the same button to create a new linked trigger, which is useful when our upstream CI tools call this trigger and will automatically execute the planned test that we just created whenever this trigger is called.